we've got page 15 here from the 1957 catalogue, and I think that's when these operating hopper car sets first came along. And I believe this is a transcontinental variation, R.161, and I believe there was a British style variation shortly afterwards. And we've got this bunker here where the minerals are kept, and that came along in the set along with these arches and the supports and a little brush and a shovel there, along with a wagon. And I believe this is the transcontinental variant we're looking at here. So we could drop the mineral from the wagon back into this bunker here, or if you're lucky enough to have track underneath, you could roll another wagon in underneath like we've just seen on the layout. So I believe unloading sets or hopper car sets were available in one form or another right through till sort of around 1964, when I think they vanished from the catalogue for a while, and then they didn't show up again until 1974. So let's have a swift look at this page 15 from the 74 catalogue here. And we've got a diesel shunter in action here. It looks like a high mech with some mineral wagons underneath. And we've got a red wagon here, red hopper wagon. And there's the contents of the set, and it looks like we've got converter tracks here to convert from Super 4 to System 6, and those very fiddly piers. Again, that lovely red wagon. I do have one of those, but I couldn't find it for the video. So quite an impressive looking set, isn't it, when you see it like that. So then this is 74, so I think the set came along there as reintroduced sometime around here, and it was R.415. And then if we jump to 1978, which I think more represents the set that we've got on the railway today in this slightly darker colour. I think it showed up from this period on in this dark colour, in this lovely green wagon here. Let's just have a closer look at that, and we've got that later style set of piers you can see I've got in use on the railway. So it says Concert Iron Company Limited on the side of that wagon. So we'll just pop that to one side and have a look at the box. So we've seen this 78 catalogue quite a number of times recently. And then we have this terrific box. Now if you look at the insert picture, you can see the inside of it. There is no insert left in it. And that's how it came to me, as you see it in that insert picture there. So I think the card insides or any packaging has gone, and this was all that was contained within the box, just for reference there. So there's contents as insert there, just so you don't believe you're getting this locomotive and all of these wagons and extra track and so on. That could be a little bit disappointing. So there isn't a great deal else on this box. We've got the later catalogue number here, R.415, operating all wagon set. And that isn't paper label, that's actually printed onto the box. And I thought they would have taken the opportunity to sort of put other items so you could see what else was available in the range there, but they haven't gone for that. But let's just pop that down and we can have a look at the hopper wagon. So I believe these were sold separately as R.232. I think they were available from 76 to 79, and again 1980 to 82. I think there was a different number. I think there were 732 at that time, and I think this just goes back to a much older triangle model. If you look at the insert picture there, you can see a very similar model from an earlier period. Again, you have to excuse the emergency vehicle passing in the background there. So we can see this sort of operating trapdoor arrangement on the bottom of the wagon there. Again, this is silver seal wheels, which is quite nice. As it rolls onto the bridge, there we go, and it opens, and then you roll it further along the bridge, and it keeps that lever open, and it self-closes, which I think is a really quite neat idea. I've been using, rather than the mineral which was supplied, which sort of goes everywhere, we've got a bag of it here. It really is. It does get everywhere, and between the tracks is very difficult to recover when you have an accident. I've been using what my son used to call coal beans. Let's just have a look at that. You see these little beans here. I can't remember the name of these beans, but if I find out, I'll just put put a note on the video there. So we'll pop that to one side, and that one's noticeably darker, isn't it, when you look at the colour of that wagon. This sort of lighter one is the one that came in the set. So if we just pop that down, I do have a box for this darker one. So Hornby Railway's box. So this is our 232 operating all wagon. £2.50 it says there, and there's some letters and a slash there. I'm not sure what they sort of refer to. But just going on to the locomotives on the railway. So a number of people have asked me about this model. Now we've seen this in the past, and this is the reworked diesel shunter, which came along in the mid-70s, 77 I think, this one, 76, 77, and it's got that automatic uncoupling device here. So I think it was R.156 when it first showed up, and then this model is actually R.354, and I think it might be a painted version. If we have a look at the box, it's a 1980s style box we've got this one in. So that's R.354. If you want to have a closer look at that model, and there's an earlier video, and I'll leave a link to it. And the other model I've got on the railway today is this sort of slightly later Jinty, and again we've seen this one in the past quite recently, and that's R.058. That was available 78 to 79, and I think there's a painted version of it available 1980 to 82, numbered R.302. I think it all gets very complicated when they change from painted to painted rather than self-coloured plastic. But again, I'll leave links to earlier videos for that. We have just a swift look over this slightly older coal unloading bridge, or gravity unloading bridge, which forms part of the set. Now this one's got these little extra tabs here, which could be used for the standard track. So it really it dates this one back a fair bit. The one on the railway today has got System 6 style rails. This has got the Corsa Super 4 Series 3 sort of style steel rails in it, but quite a lovely thing. And I think this arrangement here has changed as well. The height of this has grown. Well, this is the part that helps close it after it's opened. But, a fairly intricate piece of moulding, and this one does have Triang's name on it there, and the number R82, made in England. I think that these were actually sold as a singular item, and the supports may have been available separately as well as just in sets. But interesting item. We should have a look at that running. And I think wagons that would take advantage of this, apart from the two we've seen here, I think there were a number of them over the years. And there is the Jinty. We were just looking at the boxes there, and I forgot to actually have a look at the model, but as I said, I will leave a link to the earlier video where we had a closer look at this model. It's not in perfect condition. There are some marks, and it's reasonably smooth. It does the job. It's quite a nice looking thing, I think, for the period. Certainly, I think they did quite a bit of work to bring it on from the earlier Jinty from the Triang days. Let's see if we can get this back on the rails here with one hand. So it's always a bit trickier than it looks when you're trying to look at the camera while you're doing something. But I think we have that, and let's bring the wagon up. There we go. So I think what we'll do, we'll see if we can position that in a place where we can catch the falling coal beams. So let's give that a little power and see if we can try and follow that around. Now I think that's about it. The few experiments I've had with these 060s, if you get the centre wheel just on that rail joint there, it tends to get the wagon in the right place, he says, hopefully. So again, excusing the squeaky floorboards, you can see the wagon below. So you can see the way this bridge is made compared to the other one. In fact, let me just grab the other one. Excuse me, wobbling while I reach backwards. So here is the earlier grey version. You can see the slight difference in the construction, how the actuating bits are just very slightly different. I'm not sure whether that's the difference in rail heights and things, but we'll just pop that down. Now we need to get that diesel shunter. So in the last week, I've done quite a bit of work with this. This wasn't all sort of complete. It's not quite complete now, but it's sort of in reasonable shape. It's a bit better. I've got it all the way around past the bridge. I think I only had it up to the bridge, the side walls in last week's video. Let's just have a quick pan round here. So I've got that in all the way down to level ground, and coming the other way. We followed the Jinty up here earlier, didn't we? Around here. So I've got the side walls in here, all of the planking in. Although I keep finding it's peeling up. I ran out of those little wire clips, didn't have quite enough of them. So I'm going to have to make an adjustment here and there as we go along. But it looks fairly neat and tidy. It certainly does change the look of the layout once you get all of that in. And I made this little elevated section here. Again, I drew up some parts for the 3D printer again, just to support the track over here. It seemed to work quite well. The trickiest thing was finding a glue which holds that together. But a lot of stuff doesn't take to this particular plastic. So I think we'll see if we can bring the diesel shunter across now. Let's see if we can get a little power. There we go. So that's nicely emptied. Sometimes if you have too many of these coal beans in, they don't all drop out. They sort of lock in position on the inside. Let's have a look there. So I have just taken a few away just to make that more successful each time. So now, when this rolls forwards, it will lift the door up underneath when that little arm goes on there, and then it will snap shut underneath, and I'll be able to take it away again. So let's see if we can make that happen. Just grab the right controller. Obviously I've gone in the wrong direction, so we'll go in the correct direction. So there we go. So if we have a close look in there, you can see it's lifted the door up, and it's let that arm drop back in to hold the door shut in the bottom of the wagon. So then let's see if we can get it to run the right direction this time. Again, I'm reaching backwards at the controller here, so let's give that a little power now. Actually, why don't we go to the end of the line there, just for the fun of it. We'll see it run up to the buffer there. So that's all quite backlit, isn't it? Must get some different lighting in here at some point, but I think that looks quite good. So let's, just for the fun of it, let's bring that Jinty forwards underneath to the other end as well. Again, definitely turning these things the wrong way. Still, it is toy trains. And we'll take that out underneath there, just short of the buffer stop. There we go. So I think what we ought to do now, just to have a look at this Incline in action. See, there is another bit of boarding there jumped up. let's see if I can get the points set, and we'll get the coronation out just for a quick run around the incline, just so we can see it in action with a slightly longer train. So I'm just going to fiddle with the points for a moment. So I think we'll just stop her there, and I'll just flip these points before we have any accidents. There we have it. Now I think we're all set up for a clear run around to take in the elevated section. So let's see if we can have a little power now. So let's see if we can do this nice and gently. Fairly good over the point work, I think. A lot of friction coming around those curves. She seems to be climbing quite nicely. Looking pretty good coming up to the points there. Picking up a bit of speed now. She's on leveled out a little, so she's going to tear away coming down the slope now. So we'll just back off the power a little. And back onto level ground. So it looks pretty good, I think. So no shortage of power with this locomotive, going up the incline, going up the curves. So I think perhaps just one more go and that will be it for today. But thank you very much for watching. It's hugely appreciated. If you look back again next time, we'll have something else from the range. Goodbye now.